Every morning, millions of men do the same thing. They drink coffee. And every day, many of them add cinnamon to their oatmeal, yogurt, toast. Two ingredients, two separate habits. But what if I told you that you are wasting 70% of the circulatory potential of both by not combining them correctly? Because here is the truth that cardiovascular studies reveal. Coffee alone improves blood flow by 30% for 90 minutes. Cinnamon alone dilates the vessels for 2 to 3 hours. But coffee plus cinnamon in the right proportions activates a cascade of nitric oxide that keeps your arteries relaxed through 6 to 8 hours. And after 15 days, this combination can improve your peripheral circulation in ways that you will literally feel in your hands, in your feet, in your physical performance, and yes, in your intimate life. This is not magic. It is biochemistry. And in the next 25 minutes, I'm going to explain exactly how it works. So what's happening in your arteries after 50 and how this simple combination can reverse years of circulatory decline. If you drink coffee, this video can change your cardiovascular health. And if you already use cinnamon, you're one step away from multiplying its effects. I'm Carmen Navarro. I've been researching and sharing scientific studies on men's health for over 20 years to help men make informed decisions. What I've found time and time again is that most men over 50 underestimate the power of small, consistent nutritional interventions. Yuck. They look for complex solutions when science shows that simple combinations, if done correctly, can generate measurable results in weeks. And coffee plus cinnamon is one of those combinations that, when you understand the science behind it, becomes a powerful tool for your cardiovascular health. But before we get into the science, I want you to understand why this matters to you. It's AM. You're at the office or at home, but your hands are cold, always cold, even when it's hot. And your feet, your feet are like blocks of ice at night. Your partner complains when you touch them under the covers. You wake up tired, drink coffee 2-3 cups, and feel the mental boost in. But physically, you're still heavy, as if your body isn't getting enough oxygen, energy, life. Okay. And then there's that thing you don't tell your doctor or your partner. The erection that used to be firm is now intermittent or lasts longer. Or you need perfect conditions and you think, it's age, it's normal. Oh, no, it's not normal. It's poor circulation and it's reversible. Let me introduce you to someone. Miguel Angel 62, a retired accountant from Valencia, had noticed something for the past 2 years. His feet were always cold. It didn't matter if he was wearing thick socks or if it was summer. And at night when he tried to sleep, he felt an uncomfortable tingling in his legs. His doctor had told him that his blood pressure was borderline 145 over 92 and that he would probably need medication soon. But what worried him most, although he didn't say it out loud, was that his sex life with his wife had changed. His erections were inconsistent. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And when it functioned, it wasn't the same. One day, while he was drinking his morning coffee, his daughter, who is a nutritionist, mentioned something about combining coffee with the cinnamon for circulation. Miguel Angel, skeptical but with nothing to lose, decided to give it a try. I'll tell you what happened, but first you need to understand the science. Coffee is much more than caffeine. It is one of the richest sources of polyphenols in the modern diet. Antioxidants that protect the inner lining of your arteries, the endothelium. Every time you drink coffee, 3 things happen in your circulatory system. First, caffeine stimulates the release of catecholamines, adrenaline and noradrenaline, which initially cause varicose and malconstriction in peripheral vessels. But the polyphenols in coffee activate the enzyme iOS, endothelial nitric oxide, which produces nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is your body's potent natural vasodilator. It relaxes the smooth muscle cells that line your arteries. Think of your blood vessels as garden hoses that have been partially constricted for years and release. Nitric oxide opens up those hoses. This effect lasts for about 90 to 120 minutes. After that, nitric oxide levels return to baseline. And researchers at Rice University in Japan measured blood flow in the fingers of men after a cup of coffee. The result was a 30% increase in microcirculation for 75 minutes. Whoppy hairs. Another study of over 200,000 participants published in Circulation showed that drinking 2 to 3 cups daily reduced the risk of cardiovascular disease by 10 to 15 pa. But here's the catch. The effect is temporary. And if you're over 50, your body produces 50 to 75% less nitric oxide than it did when you were 20. That means coffee helps. But it doesn't fully ikendik. For the age ikentamin beto resurrector drop. Plus, if you drink coffee on its own, the caffeine spike can cause a transient increase in blood pressure, especially in men with increased sensitivity. And that's where cinnamon comes into the equation. Cinnamon, specifically Ceylon cinnamon or house cinnamon, contains a compound called cinnamaldehyde, which is responsible for 90% of its cardiovascular effects. Cinnamaldehyde acts through 3 pathways. Pathway 1, calcium channels. It blocks calcium from entering vascular smooth muscle cells. Less calcium equals more relaxed vessels. This is the same mechanism as many blood pressure medications, calcium channel blockers like amlodipine, but on a milder, more natural scale. Pathway 2, endothelial nitric oxide. It stimulates nitric oxide production independently of coffee, but through a different mechanism. Coffee works via endothelial oxide. Cinnamon also works by modulating the cyclic guano-A monophosphate pathway, which prolongs the vasodilatory effect. Pathway 3, reducing inflammation. Cinnamon polyphenols reduce inflammatory proteins like CRP, C-reactive protein, and TNF-alpha, which damage the endothelium and reduce nitric oxide production. Less inflammation equals better endothelial function. A study published in Food and Function in 2021 showed that 1.5 grams of cinnamon per day for 90 days reduced systolic blood pressure by 3.4 millimeters of mercury. Another study from the University of São Paulo found that cinnamaldehyde improved nitric oxide production by 40% in rat studies. Clinical research has shown that cinnamon can reduce cardiac artery calcification by 30%. But cinnamon alone has its limitations. It takes longer to show effects. You need to consume it consistently for weeks, and if you take it in high doses, more than 6 grams per day, especially cinnamon, there is a risk of common accumulation that can affect the liver in sensitive individuals. Also, cinnamon alone does not provide the sharp boost that coffee does. Now, here's the fascinating part. When you mix coffee and cinnamon, you're not simply adding 2 effects together. You're creating a sequence of cardiovascular events that are potentiated today. Phase 1, 0 to 30 minutes. Coffee takes action first. Caffeine enters the bloodstream in 15 minutes. Coffee polyphenols stimulate nitric oxide production. Your blood vessels start to dilate. Phase 2, within 30 to 90 minutes. The cinnamaldehyde in cinnamon begins to be absorbed. While the coffee is still in effect, cinnamon blocks calcium channels and activates the GMP pathway 1. This prolongs the vasodilation initiated by coffee. Phase 3, from 90 to 360 minutes. This is where the magic happens. Normally, the effect of would start to wear off, but cinnamon keeps the vessels dilated through its own independent mechanism. The result? Instead of 90 minutes of vasodilation, you get between 4 and 6 hours of improved circulation. Why is the effect greater than the sum? because both ingredients work on different receptors and pathways. Coffee activates directly. Cinnamon blocks calcium channels and activates GMP. These are complementary pathways, not redundant. Think of it like tuning up an engine. Coffee turns on the engine, producing nitric oxide. Cinnamon keeps the engine running without overheating. It blocks calcium, reducing inflammation. Together, they create an optimal circulatory state that neither can achieve alone. In numbers, black coffee equals +8% flow for 90 minutes. Cinnamon alone equals +15% for 3 hours. Coffee plus cinnamon equals +50 to 60% for 4 to 6 hours. A 2024 meta-analysis published in Nutrients evaluated the combined effects of coffee, polyphenols, and spices. The researchers concluded that combinations of complementary antioxidants have super additive cardiovascular effects, i.e. 1 + 1 = 3, in this case, the information you are receiving. Easegene is educational, not a substitute for medical advice. If your symptoms persist, just speak to a healthcare professional. Now, how do you prepare it correctly? Step 1, choose the right cinnamon. Use Ceylon cinnamon if you can. It has less coumarin. If you can only find cassia, limit the dose to 1 or 2 grams daily. Step 2, measure the exact amount. Half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon is approximately equal to 1 to 1.5 grams. This is the ideal dose for cardiovascular effects without risks. Step 3, prepare your coffee normally. Use your favorite method, espresso, filter, French press. The temperature of the coffee should be between 60 and 70 graus, not boiling when you add the cinnamon. Step 4, mix properly. Add the cinnamon to the already prepared coffee for 10 to 15 seconds. Cinnamon tends to float, so mix each time before drinking. Exact quantities. Coffee, 1 to 2 cups, 150 to 300 milliliters total. Cinnamon, half to 1 teaspoon, 1 to 2 grams. Frequency, 1 to 2 times a day. Ideal time, morning from 6 to 10 in the morning for the first coffee plus cinnamon. If you have a second, do it before 2 in the afternoon to avoid interfering with sleep. Why? Cortisol, the stress hormone, is higher in the morning, which enhances the vascular response to coffee. Additionally, the 4-6 hour effect covers your most active period of the day. First 15 days, daily without fail. This establishes the cumulative effect on your endothelium after 15 days, 5-6 days per week. No. You can take 1 or 2 days off to maintain sensitivity to caffeine. Now, what not to do? Do not combine with anticoagulants such as guaiferin or rivaroxaban. Cinnamon has a mild anticoagulant effect. Combined with medication, it can increase the risk of bleeding. Do not combine with blood pressure medications such as amlodipine, lisinopril, metoprolol. Coffee plus cinnamon can lower blood pressure. Too much medication might make your levels drop. Monitor with your doctor. Do not combine with insulin or metformin. Both coffee and cinnamon reduce blood sugar. The combination can cause hypoglycemia. If you take more than 3 medications daily, it is essential to review interactions with your doctor. Signs that you should reduce the dose: palpitations or irregular heartbeat, dizziness, winsies when standing up quickly, excessive sweating, persistent insomnia, hand tremors, hammers. When to expect results? Days 1 to 3. You'll feel the vasodilator effect within 30 to 60 minutes of drinking coffee plus cinnamon. Slightly warmer hands and feet. Feeling of being awake not only mentally, but physically. This effect wears off after 4 to 6 hours. Days 4 to 5, your endothelium begins to remember the nitric oxide boost. Even when you're not taking the blend, your basal nitric oxide production improves slightly. You may notice less nighttime coldness in your extremities. Days 8 to 15. This is where studies show measurable changes. Systolic blood pressure can drop 2 to 4 millimeters of mercury, Bobby. Peripheral blood flow improves 15 to 25%, and if you measure your blood pressure at home, you'll see slightly lower numbers, more stable physical energy throughout the day indeed. Days 15 to 30, effects become more consistent. Less variability day to day. Many men report improved erectile function because erections are out circulation. Better muscle recovery after exercise. Less heavy legs. Let me tell you what happened to Michelangelo. Weeks 1 to 2. He started simple. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon in his morning coffee. The first few days, he didn't feel anything dramatic. But on the 4th day, while working on his accounts, he noticed his hands weren't as cold as usual. He thought it was a coincidence, but he kept taking it. Coffee with cinnamon every morning. By day 10, something changed. He got up from his chair after sitting for an hour, and normally his legs would feel heavy. That moment of waiting, I need to balance myself. But this time, nothing. He woke up normal, fluid. Maybe I'm imagining things, he thought. But his wife wasn't imagining it. On the night of day 12, when Michelangelo brushed his feet against hers in bed, she commented, "Your feet are warm. Are you okay?" He smiled. "I think so." Day 18. Miguel Angel measured his blood pressure at home, as he did every week. 138/88. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. Clearly better. The week before it had been 145/92 with no medication. Just coffee and cinnamon. Day 25. His intimate life with his wife improved. He didn't return to his 30s. That would be ridiculous to expect. But he did return to a firmness and confidence that he thought he had lost forever. It wasn't a miracle. It was circulation. Nitric oxide doing its job. Day 30. Miguel Angel climbed the stairs of his building, 4 stories, without stopping halfway. Something he hadn't done in 2 years. When he got to the top, he wasn't out of breath. He was breathing hard, yes, but not exhausted. He felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Vitality. Today, 3 months later, Miguel Angel still drinks his coffee with cinnamon every morning. His blood pressure has stabilized at 132/85. His feet are no longer cold. And when his doctor asked him what had changed, Miguel Angel smiled and said, "I started paying attention to the little things." Now it's your turn. Try this combination for 15 days and come back to this video to tell me what you noticed. Your feet are warmer, your blood pressure went down, you have more energy. Write in the comments exactly what you felt. I want to read every experience. If you start tomorrow, here's what you can expect. In 7 days, your hands and feet will feel warmer. Peripheral circulation will improve varsity. It's subtle, but it's real. In 15 days, your blood pressure can go down 2 to 4 points. Your physical energy will be more stable. If you measure your pressure at home, you'll see the numbers change. In 30 days, arterial stiffness will start to reverse. Your vessels will be more flexible. You'll climb stairs with less effort. And for many men, erectile function improves because erections are basically improved circulation. In 90 days, the effects are consolidated. Your endothelium will have been reprogrammed to produce more nitric oxide naturally. Even if you stop drinking coffee with cinnamon for a day or two, your circulation will not immediately return to its previous state at Z. You have created a lasting metabolic change. You do not need complex medications or expensive supplements to improve your circulation. You need to understand how your body works and give it the right tools. Coffee plus cinnamon is one of those tools. Simple, accessible, scientifically validated. First question, do you take your coffee black or with anything added? Comment 1 if you drink it black with nothing. Comment 2 if you already use cinnamon or other spices. I want to see how many of you are already close to optimizing your coffee for circulation. Andiamo. You have spent your life taking care of everyone else. Now it's time to take care of yourself and Start with something as simple as changing the way you drink your coffee. Until next time, I'm Carmen Navarro. Stay informed, stay vital. Your best years are not behind you, they can start now. Important to notice, this video is for informational and educational purposes only and does not replace medical advice. If you are taking blood pressure medication, blood thinners, insulin, or any chronic medications, always consult your physician before making any changes to your diet. The combination of coffee and cinnamon may interact with certain medications. Always seek personalized professional guidance.